In this video I'm going to show you how you can use Task to take survey information, and it's going to auto-populate the information you take with the Task mobile app into this Google Doc. So I've set up this Google Doc. It's going to ask 10 questions of people, and anyone who's looking at this video can join this project, and you can test it on the mobile app, and you can also view. I'm going to give you a link to view the sheet so you can see answers that are put on here by the people, and you can do it yourself to test it. I'm going to ask for I'm going to put in here the Task username. Don't need to ask for that, we already have it. I'm going to have the user profile so I could link to them, the date added, their location, and then we're going to ask them 10 questions such as how do they like to read their books, where they go to plays or musicals, and we've got a range of other questions that are going to give us a bit of a insight into the people that we're surveying on this project. So I have set up a project called survey information to a Google Doc, and I'm going to start adding my task. Task is going to be 10 questions to get to know you. I've added a description, and I've also added a link which is going to take us through to this Google sheet. So anyone that's doing this task can take a look at that. Points will leave as 1. I'm not going to verify the task, and now we need to add the activity feedback fields. We're going to be using drop-down lists. We want to get structured data from the people that are taking the survey. If I come back here, I'll copy read on a Kindle or paperback book, paste that in as the label. I'm going to want to have as option 1 Kindle, option 2 I'll put, I can't spell, paperback book. Okay, obviously they're all going to be required. That's the first one. Okay, I have filled out all 10 questions. You didn't need to see that, which relate to the questions I've got in here, and I'll save the task, and that task is saved. I'm also going to add another task here, which is going to give you some more information about the sources that I'm using during this demonstration, because I want to have a few tasks in here. I'm going to show you how to filter tasks using the metadata inside a task. So let me quickly add another task here. So I'm just adding information here for Zapier. So this is using Zapier to send completed task data to other applications, because I'm not going to show you any of that in this tutorial. I just want to show you how to use tasks with a survey. So this is information that will let you find out about using Zapier with task, and I'll save that. And we're going to be using Zapier to take the data that comes from our survey and propagate it into the Google Sheet we set up over here. I'm going to add I suppose an advanced configuration here, which is on my 10 questions to get to know you. I want to be able to tell Zapier that it's this task that you want to process data for. I don't want it to process data on things like notes on tutorial or any other tasks that I might add inside this project. I only want it to work on this one. So I'm going to use metadata. You'll see if you switch from the editor view to the JSON view that we've got lots of developer kind of gobbledygook here, and the bit that you want to worry about is where it says metadata, and we're going to update that. Okay, so I've added inside metadata, very simple, just using quote marks to open and close task survey, and got a colon, and that's equals yes. So in Zapier I can say, hey, only where task survey equals yes are you going to process this data. So save that task, and we're done. Okay, I'm going to show you how to set up this Zap, and you can see task version 1.00, which we're currently using. I'm going to choose that as my trigger app. And we've only got one possible trigger here, which is that we send data with a completed task. So save and continue. So I'm going to select the account that's connected to this demo account, click save and continue. This drop down lets us choose the project inside our task account that we're going to grab the task data from. Now we get to this page, and Zapier wants us to create a sample that it can use to analyze the data so that we can set up the data that goes into the Google Sheet. To do this, we need to go over to the mobile app now. I've invited myself and Steve into the demo survey account so that I can complete a survey and create some test data to appear here. So I'll complete the task that we set up, and first of all let me just answer about reading a Kindle or paperback. For me it's a Kindle, and then let's do a quick fast forward. Great, we can click done now and return back to Zapier. Back in Zapier you can see that our completed task data has been pulled through. If we expand it down, you can see all the information that we've taken, which is the data that we'll now send through to Google Sheets. Zapier now wants us to add the action step, so we click and search for Google Sheets. We add Google Sheets, select Create Spreadsheet Row. Choose your Google account that you're going to connect to. Choose the spreadsheet. You can see mine's listed at the top, and then you need to choose the worksheet within that spreadsheet you're going to add the data to. First, let's add the username, and we'll put a @ in front of it. Next, we'll, for the user profile, put in the username, and before that I'll add the full task.io domain with a /, and that'll create a link through to it. If you check the task with notes, you can find the piece of code that I just pasted in here, which will create the date added. Then we've got longitude and latitude. That's taken every time someone completes a task. And here's the first question, which is, do you prefer to read on a Kindle or paperback? Scroll down and find that. And we've now got to work through each one of these. You will find with Zapier that you've got this search box at the top. So start typing it in, and that makes it nice and quick. And I will speed it up to get to the end of this section. Okay, that's all done. If we scroll up, you see everything is now mapped. And we click continue. Again, you can see all the information, how it's getting mapped through from the sample. We're going to see that come through into this spreadsheet, into the spreadsheet. As we pull down, and you see it says send test to Google Sheets. Click that, the test data gets sent back to the Google Sheet, and there's our information that's all been inserted as we wanted. Back in Zapier, click finish. Give it give it a name, which I will give it what we call it, the Google Survey Demo Zap, and I'm going to switch it on. By switching it on, that means when you make your test and you see it going onto that Google Sheet, it's using this Zap that I've set up inside here. Okay, one last thing to do to make your Zap nice and robust is, an issue you'll have now is that if someone does notes on tutorial, this is going to be sent to Zapier and you'll get an error. You only want this task to get processed by this particular Zap. And this is also useful because your different tasks that you could have in here can be sent to different zaps, which can be great if you've got more complicated surveys and you want to put the information to various different areas. The way you do it is come back in to edit your zap and choose a filter. You see it says only allow a zap to proceed when a certain condition is met. Only continue if, save and continue. And this is where the metadata I put in earlier will become very useful. So I'm going to choose metadata task survey yes, and we want to say exactly matches yes. Test and continue. And that was not what I was expecting. Let me have a look at the sample data. Meta task data, yes. It looks like it should be yes. So change it to contains. Okay, good. So your zap would have continued. And press continue. And it asked me to turn the zap back on. And by applying that filter in the middle, it just protects you. And as I said, by using metadata to describe what the task is, you can end up with multiple zaps working on different tasks inside the project, and you're not going to get any errors from Zapier. Okay, so it's all set up, the zap is enabled, and I've gone back into my mobile app here and I've filled everything out. If you keep an eye on row 3 here, as soon as I press completing the task, quite quickly you can see that the information has come through, and you can see I've made some different selections here. However, I had to maintain that I prefer Twitter than Facebook. Anyway, that shows you a really easy way of getting surveys working on task. You can be adding any type of data here. I showed you a pretty basic way of setting up just 10 questions. You've got other types of data that you could be asking for. It doesn't have to be using drop-downs. But drop-downs are great. You've got multi-select with tags. And just to show you a slightly more advanced use here is that notice on the drop-downs you've got show values. And if you wanted to, you could put a numeric here. So let's say I want to give 5 for if someone chooses play, and I want to give a 2 if there's a choice of musical. So there's options here if you want to put in values which are not the same as the labels over here. That's a bit more advanced, and I'll leave that one with you. I hope this video has been helpful. Thanks very much.